Hello, Rick. Good
Oh,
morning.
yes. Good morning.
We can both say good morning and good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whenever you're listening to this.
Yeah. Welcome. Welcome to an honest look.
Welcome to an honest look. I love how that is so true in our lives, right? We're always taking an honest look, right? I was thinking about that actually this morning when my daughter was telling me that she was listening to one of our episodes.
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
She really loved the Halloween one, of course. Makes sense, right? Um, I'm like, oh, so you know what mommy's podcast is called? She's like, An Honest Look. And it's so true. It's so true. We don't try to, we always take an honest look at things and ourselves and situations and try to bring that here. And that's really at the base of what it's all about, right? Radical honesty.
Radical honesty, and being vulnerable. And we talked a bit about not putting on false pretenses,
Right.
even though sometimes we like to stage our backgrounds a little bit, um, just so they're not distracting.
Right. There
By
are
the way, this is not my house. If you're watching this video, that is my painting, though. That is my photo.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Rick is a very talented photographer, by the way, everyone. You should check out his work.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
It's so true. Yeah, but we care, right? And that because that's how we show that we care, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I would say any kind of, and that's maybe I was saying, we've been conditioned to look professional, right? And there's some things that you just decide that you're gonna take on, and some things that you're gonna let go, as long as it feels good, right? I don't think that I would feel good if I had a bunch of mess behind me. That's all. I find it distracting.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's that is a real background, by the way.
Yeah.
Outside
Yeah.
or looking perfect, it was it. Um, yeah, but what are we going to talk about today?
Well, I think we're kind of on a roll. A bit about the subject of being authentic. You know, kind of mastering your energy. I think is kind of part of that. Getting to know yourself better.
Right.
Noticing when you're not authentic and what that feels like.
Right.
Um,
Speaking of mastering your energy, I wonder if when we use that term, if people don't even know what we mean, right? And I think that to know what that means, you really have to start with, do you know where your energy is going?
mm,
Right?
yeah, go ahead.
Right? Do we know? I feel like most people don't realize all the different places where your energy is going, and it's not a choice you made, right? Our energy is dispersed in so many different ways, right? Well, I mean, we walk and talk and move, right? So that's one way. There are also the subtle things in our lives that we have been conditioned again to accept, right? A prime example that I think most people nowadays really suffer from is your phone.
Oh,
All the notifications and the emails and the text messages and the push notifications from different apps and social media. And I have to say, I always have some form of do not disturb on my phone, and it filters things in different ways at different times, depending on what I'm doing. It's
hmm
strict if I'm working, like right now, it's just like nothing gets through, right? Because obviously, we're doing this. But I also do it during my day. There's small windows where it's just open, like anything can come in, and it's always on vibrate. Like
mm,
have the sound on, because I find that that takes my energy, right? Like this constant, and it's also constantly disrupting what you're doing. When you're disrupted in what you're doing, to then get back into a focused state,
yeah,
it's a lot
yeah.
of energy.
I want to just add another term, attention. So
Attention.
anything that grabs your attention is grabbing your energy,
Yeah.
right? So anything you're focusing on is an energy transformation kind of a thing. So yeah, I mean, I at times, it you hear the notification bell go off, and you feel like Pavlov's dog, kind of a thing, looking for a treat. you
Right.
know, ding, oh, gotta look,
Right.
ding, gotta look.
Right.
And yeah, it is a habit, and sometimes it feels quite innocent to do, and at other times it really takes a conscious effort not to bite into it.
Right. I mean, it does help to have something that filters that for you, so you don't even know that your phone is dinging, because there's also this thing that we feel, and it's the anxiety to respond back, or the implied expectation. I just sent you an email. Did you read it? It's like, I don't sit there and refresh my email every 2 seconds, right? So now to grab your attention, everyone's texting you because that's more immediate. So there's a lot of energy that also goes into managing those expectations, right? Just they're like underwater, right? No one's really saying it. Sometimes people will do, but you feel the anxiety of having to respond back to that email, right? And I often just, when I start feeling the anxiety come up, I ask myself, what would happen if I waited another hour or two? Well, sometimes I do forget to respond.
Really? I've never known.
Right. So I just mark it as unread. Right.
Yeah.
So that's my way. So if it's not something that I know needs that immediate response, I'll get to it when it's appropriate. I'm not going to respond to your email while I'm driving, right? Or while I'm focused on something else that I really need to do for my life. But that anxiety that arises and the need to manage internally, that takes a lot of energy.
Well, it does, because as you're speaking, I'm starting to reflect on. I've always had this responsive attitude, like always being sort of e- expected to respond now,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even as growing up, kind of a
Right.
thing, right? So I can see, a lot of my anxiety or thoughts go towards, why isn't that person responding back?
Mm-hmm.
Because I responded, I hear it, I see a text, I respond immediately, and then I'm waiting like 5-10 minutes, like, okay, why did you text me if you don't have time to text?
Right.
So it's but it's just stuff I'm making up.
Well, it's you touched upon like the biggest energy um, vampire of all, right? that internal rehearsal,
Yeah.
right? Because truly, all these things could be happening. You have your phone on do not disturb, or you see the email. If you know how to manage your own energy, it won't really affect you. The email came in, so what?
Yeah.
There's a difference there. There's an email, I gotta respond to it. What are they gonna think if I don't respond? They think that I don't, I'm not interested, like, or oh my God, I should respond. Should I pull over and just type the email? What should I say? Right? It's all of the mental rehearsal. So that
Hmm.
takes me to the next, probably the most important one of all, is what's going on in here, right?
Totally. Totally.
That's what anxiety is. That's where anxiety comes from.
Yeah.
That rehearsal again of the what ifs.
Yeah.
The rehearsal of the what ifs that typically are not, what if things turned out great? What if I got exactly what I wanted? No, the what ifs are like, what if they just, I don't get this thing because they didn't respond? What
Always
if
negative. It's always negative.
more?
Yeah.
Like, what if, like I get fired? All the what ifs are like catastrophic thinking, right? And that type of thinking is very heavy in energy intake, right?
It is. It's amazing how and using the vampire analogy, how it sucks sucks the life out of
Sucks the
you.
life out of you. It really does. And like the prime example that I could give is when I'm waiting to hear back about something that you really care about, right? I could give you the example of a couple of weeks ago when I was waiting to hear back if I got this apartment. Like the level of anxiety that I felt was severe.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot at stake. Been looking for a while. I really wanted this apartment, and like I really caught myself going down that spiral, and it was all consuming. I caught myself not being able to do anything else because I was just like so in the feeling and energy of anxiety over all the what ifs. So here comes how to manage that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what do we do, right? But again, it's important to know that that is a place where your energy is getting dispersed. So I don't think that people really realize, I think most people think, I didn't get enough sleep. I gotta get some sleep, right? I gotta, like if I get enough sleep, then I'll have energy, right? That's true. But that's not the only thing that you can do to manage your energy and preserve it.
Well, there's an analogy or a metaphor that's coming up for me as you're speaking, because it's like I have this motorhome, right, and it has basically two separate banks of batteries, and one is sort of looks after the engine and all that side of things, right? And I'm almost thinking, and I'm just playing with this idea, I'm thinking that we all have the engine battery. We all have
Mhm.
this battery that looks after our breathing and all the other functions that need to happen. And then we have a thing called the house battery, and that's where we have it's the consumable side of things, where if it takes care of the lights, it takes care of the mic, those kind of things, right? So that's like if I'm going to spend time on emails, I'm going to be using my house battery, right? Now I know when I'm camping and traveling, if I throw on one light, it's not going to affect the house batteries too much. If I throw on a bunch of lights, I'm going to drain those house batteries, right? To the point where it's actually going to start to draw energy from the other bank that's sort of isolated up to this point.
Right,
And then that some physical things start to happen. And I
right,
think what we get trapped in is thinking that, oh, I'm tired, I've depleted my house batteries. Actually, when you start to feel tired, you're starting to go into your engine batteries.
right,
You're lost. I think we need to learn more how to manage our house batteries, so
right,
that we're not getting into situations where we're getting chronic illnesses and pains and all those things that come on when we're always tapping into our engine battery,
right,
thinking it's okay. Well, it's not. We were never designed to constantly draw energy from that area, because it
right.
needs to function. It needs to work on our bodies, right? Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
we have the ability to charge it, right,
yeah,
through sleep, but that doesn't mean that that's the healthiest way to do it.
no, but it's
We'll be sleeping a
like you
lot,
said
right?
you earlier, like we're conditioned to work harder. Like if it's not working, then maybe I have to spend 10 hours at it instead of
Right,
8 hours at it.
right. So here's like that. This is like the one angle, right? There's practical things that we can do, like sleep, exercise, those things. Typically, everyone is aware of. Exercising increases your overall stamina, right? So you have more energy. Eating, like nourishing your body with proper foods, right? So these are really like on a body level, right? Some other things that you can do is walk in nature, right? Walking in nature is highly energizing. But I want to talk about a different kind of energy now, because
Okay.
too
Where are you going with
your
this?
energy. Well, I'm going into how we create through our energy, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So energy is what we use to function and move, right? But that same energy that really drains us when we have all of the catastrophic negative thinking is the same energy that's creating a reality, right? We continuously talk about your thoughts create your reality, right?
Totally.
So I'm gonna
Yeah.
get into that, right? What does that really mean,
Yeah.
right? Well, what that really means is exactly that. The more I think about that catastrophic result or outcome or thing that may or may not happen, and the more I am focusing that really powerful energy that we all have within us onto the thing that we don't want,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when I talk about managing your energy is also with the thing that is creating the anxiety is the thinking, right?
Yep.
So once you shift the thinking, you're not just shifting the amount of energy that you're draining, right? Because thinking about something that you really desire and want is a very different feeling, creates very different emotions in your body, right? They're more charging and uplifting emotions. Right?
Totally. It almost seems like it's it's yeah, it's going back into your banks rather than
Back to your
yeah.
bank, exactly. But what it also does is starts to create the things that you want.
Yeah.
Now, it is really important to constantly redirect it in that direction because it's not enough to just be like, oh, I'm creating the thing that I don't want. Let me just sit there and like focus. I had a good thought now. I had a good thought. It's gonna happen. I had this good thought. It's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna get this place. And then an hour later, you're driving and you're rehearsing. What if I don't get it? What should I do? Maybe I should look for more listings, right? And you catch yourself doing it again,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Because that's how it works. Like
Yeah.
you managed it for a minute, right? And then you're back at it. We're back at it. We're going there again, right? So again, it's about, all right, got it. There's some fear there, right? Again, we always talk about fear and anxiety are valid feelings, emotions.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to be expressed, right? If we just pretend that they're not there, we bypass it with, oh, no, 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 no. I am getting this. I am getting this. I am getting this. Let me do some affirmations. It's going to happen. Well, that's not going to work. The reason why that's not going to work is because you're denying that feeling to be expressed, right? So it's not so much about having the catastrophic thought or the fear or the anxiety. It's more about knowing how to release it, acknowledge it, let it out, and now you can shift it. Because if you just shift it, an hour later, you're back at it, right?
Well, and going back to my my metaphor with the camper, it's like I have a little gauge that tells me how much energy is being drained off the batteries, right? And so a lot of times I'll look at it and go, "Oh my goodness, that's a lot of energy." And then I start to notice all the things that I have going. Like I have all and then I ask myself, does that light need to be on? Do I need to be focusing my attention in that area right now? Like, overwhelmness is one of my biggest energy draws.
Right.
And I'm busy. Like I have lots of things that are like juggling all the time, right?
Right.
And every once in a while I come into, and all my lights are on. And it's like and it's draining my battery. And it's like, okay, so what's really important? I can shut this one off. I can shut this one off. I can shut this one off. Not permanently. Like nothing's ever permanent because a lot of stuff needs to get done. And I've got tons of little post-it notes all over the place that are kind of important. But it's recognizing that and recognizing that you do have power to let go, turn your attention differently. Not to say, Exactly right. Like, it's not to diminish your feeling, because your feeling is telling you, oh, I am feeling really overwhelmed. Okay, great. I'm overwhelmed.
Right, right. So again, being able to spot it is
Mm-hmm.
not something that we can just do to begin with easily, right?
No, it takes practice.
It takes
Absolutely.
practice.
Yeah.
So when we say, like, in order to manage your energy, just shift your focus, I want people to realize that that may not come natural to you to start with. It's not going
Well, you're conditioned. Your
to.
intellect has already created habits for you. Like,
The intellect thinks in that
yeah,
direction, right? So you redirect it, and then an hour later, you're back there, right? It's okay. That's part of the process.
it's part
It's
of the
not
deal.
about never going there. It's not about never feeling fear. That is not human, right? Certainly not when you've been thinking that way your whole
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
It's going to take a lot of repetition in redirection for you to start doing that less and less and less.
Well,
So
that's why they call it a practice.
it's a practice.
A
So
meditation practice. It's a mindful practice. It's a
it
whatever.
does get easier, right? The first time you start riding, it's not easy at all. The first time you ride a bike, it feels like the most difficult thing in the world. You're going to fall over, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The more you do it and the better you get at it, to the point that you're not even thinking about it as you do it,
Well,
right?
that's your unconscious competency at that point,
Right.
right? You
Exactly.
don't have to think about it anymore. And that's the part where, we can tap into when things do become that way. There's less energy and more impact.
Exactly. Eventually, so
Yes.
eventually, this redirection is going to take a lot of energy. It took a lot of energy for me
Sure.
to redirect my thinking, do it over and over and over again over the course of that weekend, and not get angry at it, right? Because that too is an energy drain.
Well, you're getting angry at yourself. Like
Yeah.
give
Oh my
yourself
God,
a
I'm
break.
thinking this again. I
Yeah.
cannot, I'm never going to change.
Yeah.
Now I'm not going to get the place because I thought about this negative thought again, right? So, like, we're back at it. And now
You're human.
we're
Jeez.
feeding into that energy drain. We're
Yeah.
draining more like self inflicting negative thinking and shaming and guilt and all of that, right? Again, whenever an emotion comes up, however you label it and judge it to be, let go of that.
Sure. Yeah.
Allow it to be present for a moment, right? It really takes 90 seconds for that emotion to dissipate. Give it
Yeah.
90 seconds and then redirect your thinking, right? Now, when we're redirecting our thinking, and we talk about this a lot, but I cannot stop saying it, the thing that's really, really important when you do that, it's not just like, okay, I'm getting this, I'm getting this, I'm getting this. Feel it. Rehearse it in the great detail that you are able to rehearse your negative thinking, because we have so much detail in all of that catastrophic thinking. It's insane when you
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
bring yourself. It's like, oh my God, all the little details that I have rehearsed here of why this wouldn't work, all of the evidence that we create around it.
Mm-hmm.
Please do the same when you are shifting your focus onto what you want.
Yeah.
Don't just say, I'm getting this place. Feel it, see yourself in the place.
Exactly how you would
That.
on the
What would
negative
my
side.
morning commute look like?
Yeah.
What would it look like to have guests in my place? What would my bedroom look like? How am I going to set up the furniture? Right? Shifted thinking, but also shifted in the details that you attach to that thinking.
And you can do that for anything. Like, it doesn't have to be material things. It could also
Right.
be like weight loss.
Right. Anything.
Anything.
Just giving an example, right,
Yep.
of
Yep.
what this was like. So any kind of thing, anything you're trying to create, really rehearse all the details about it, like to the point that you feel like as if you have it, right? That's how you act as if.
Yeah.
When you really embody that outcome.
Yeah.
Embodying that outcome implies really feeling it in your body and like really seeing all the details about it, right?
Yeah.
And there are things that you can do to really enhance the ability to think in that direction. And those things can be, you can do that in conjunction with exercise. Exercise can be really helpful in releasing stress, releasing all of that pent up energy that we are holding inside, right? The anxiety and the fear and all of that. It's an amazing way to just let it all out, express it, right? Discharge your body from that energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Another really good way to actually prime your brain to be more prone to thinking in a more positive way is being in nature, right? When you're in nature and you bring yourself
Present.
in contact with it to the present moment, right? You are shifting, literally biologically shifting your brain, right?
Yeah.
So now instead of really pushing with a lot of energy to get out of this thinking that takes over automatically into something that doesn't feel very familiar, that feels like an effort, like I gotta write with my left hand. This feels really hard, right?
Yeah. It feels awkward. Yes.
Right, it feels awkward. Oh, now I have a little help. It's like the training wheels.
Yep.
The training wheels. I go in nature and my training wheels are on. And now I can really practice riding my bicycle, right? Without making such big effort. And that's
Right.
how,
You're not thinking about, oh, I got to do this. I got to do this. It becomes more of a natural part of the process.
absolutely,
Yeah.
right? Meditation is another way to not just shift your energy, but notice it. Observe your thoughts.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, I had this thought. Oftentimes, we are in the rehearsal, we are in the catastrophic thinking.
We're always in our thoughts when you think about it. Yeah.
We have no idea that we are in this, we're undoing all the things that we would like to create. Like, no idea. So it's in that pause, it's in that being present. It can be through meditation, can be through a walk in nature. You can be a master like Rick of staying present, right? Bringing yourself back to the present moment. However you do it, maybe you're doing practicing present.
You got to find what works for you. Yeah.
Whatever works for you. Body is another way
I mean, there are a lot of suggestions out there, a lot of books and a lot of YouTube videos and things like that. But and try them out. Like explore for yourself.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah.
Whatever works for you. I find that walking in nature is a walking meditation for me.
Oh,
I
totally.
do it oftentimes either in complete silence or by listening to music that's suitable to that kind of process. There's a ton of stuff that you can find on YouTube, on Spotify, right? I love the chakra balancing music lately. It does work. This stuff works. There's certain types of like beats and the music is made to create those kinds of brain waves, right? And so those are all little things that you can do to get a little help, because again, no one's going to give you a trophy for doing it the hard way.
No. Although sometimes it seems that way, right? Especially in the big corporate world, right? It's like, oh, you got to put in the 10-hour days or 12-hour days.
Let me just whip myself, make my back bleed. I'm just going to be a hero that way, right? No, that's not the way it works. And so why not? Why not give yourself those things? But it takes seeing it, it takes recognizing it, it takes giving yourself that pause, it takes giving yourself those boundaries, right?
Well, that and recognizing that everything you've done to this point, and I've probably said this several times in other episodes, but everything you've done to this point has got you here today.
Exactly.
And if you're sitting here thinking, I need to change, so that's you've already got the awareness that something has to be different. You have to be doing things differently. You have to be thinking differently. You can't continue to have, right? So there's your chance. There's your chance to start trying different things out. taking different classes, taking a Tai Chi class, going to swimming classes, walking in nature, finding things that resonate with you, that you can identify with, right? Not everybody loves going to the gym. Not everybody.
Make it easy for
Yeah.
yourself, because it really is just about starting, right? If to go to the gym is
Taking a first step.
take a first step. Maybe it's easier for you to just step into the forest. Maybe it's easier for you to just step by the lake. Maybe it's easier for you to just go for a walk with some music on. That can work too.
Yeah.
Right? And then you can worry about the gym later, because you got to start somewhere. You got to start where
Well, if that speaks
it's easy
to
for you to start. Right?
I'm curious. Like, I know for me, like when I go out for nature, I try and not go into nature with sort of an agenda in the sense of, oh, I'm going to be reading my book or doing something like that. Like I go into nature and then I kind of go, it doesn't feel like I need to listen to anything. So I'm kind of waiting for a little bit of a nudge. Sometimes it's like, I think it's a podcast time, and
Right.
and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, that was the perfect podcast for me today.
Right. I sometimes do listen to a podcast. I mean, you obviously go every morning, so it's a little different. Right? I don't have that. I don't live by the woods or anything like that. But I just listen to something that is more meant to be background noise that gets me into the zone. The way I go in nature is like I'm going in for a healing session, right?
Mm.
I'm going in and I know that I come out of it rejuvenated. I come out of it more clear-headed, right? So I really go in nature to spend time with myself and nature.
And apparently hug a tree or two.
And hug a tree or two. I was going to get to that, right? Tree hugger. I'm a true believer. So one of the things that I did do a couple of weeks ago when I went into nature was, I was doing all of this mental reframing and, shifting into more positive thinking, feeling it, and all of this. But that anxiety kept creeping back in, right? So I realized that I'm like, okay, I got to hit the gym. That typically helps. But I also realized, I can also try and move this energy out of me.
Okay.
Through intention, right? So we really don't realize that we have the power to manage and point that energy in any direction that we want. We just do it unconsciously, like we just described, and it just over. The mind does it on its own, and we're not consciously choosing where to focus it. So when you are shifting your energy onto what you want, feeling it and all of that, what you're doing is you're taking your energy and you're like a laser, you're redirecting it in the direction that you want.
Yeah, like a magnifying glass. Yeah.
Right, but we also have the ability to discharge that energy through intent. What redirects that is your intention, right? So through intention alone, we can also choose to release it. Right? And one of the things that I did, because one thing that I really feel when I'm in nature is I sense the energy of nature. So what happens when you're so present? What happens when you are able to observe your thoughts and really be present for more than just like 15, 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
There's some scientific studies behind this, about an hour and a half, right? Of that type of sustained energy.
Yep.
Then you can actually really sense energy, right? You can feel energy almost as if it was something you can touch, right? You can learn to sense energy. I don't know how.
How else can you describe it, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
it was a tool at your disposal, right? And discharge it, right? So one of the things that I tried that I knew that like trees and nature, like one of the reasons why it energizes you is not just the oxygen and all of that, it's the energy that you pick up from nature. So I just chose to give allow nature to be the filter, right? I chose to give nature this anxious energy that kept forming again and again and again. So I hugged a tree. And let me tell you, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked. Whether it is because I believe that it works or not, it doesn't matter, because
It doesn't matter. No.
what you believe is what you create, right? I hugged the tree with the intention of just giving the tree all this anxiety that I was feeling and allowing nature to filter that energy from me. Just take this energy and like give me back some of your energy. And that's what I did. So I was like, oh, now I know why people hug trees. It really, really works. I mean, I highly recommend trying it. Like it felt very nurturing and loving. I felt this love energy.
Well, when you think about it, a grounding stake, a electrical grounding stake has to be in the ground, right? So when we talk about being grounded, we, and I love going barefoot,
Right.
and because I'm the texture, I feel more energized. And one of the things that caught my attention, and the reason why I'm more consciously going barefoot a lot, is my mother once told me, before she passed away, some anecdotal stories about me. She says, I can never keep your socks on.
Mm.
I could never keep your socks on. And I thought,
that's kids. I feel like kids do that. My kids do that too.
I know, you know why? I don't know for sure, but I'm speculating because they understand grounding.
They just intuitively do what feels good.
Well, totally, right? And having socks and rubber soles, and those are all insulators.
Right.
And yeah, no, I periodically, I don't do it, often, but I love the texture of trees, and I will just, and I photograph them, I feel them, kind of a thing. And we have so many different trees here that provide different experiences,
Right.
and but it's really, and I find the release, like I can feel the drop of tension just go away.
Right. It's instantly, right?
Yeah.
Even, I mean, I love that you're speaking about walking barefoot, like having your feet on the ground, but also your hands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've done that too, where I just
they're the ones
on
that are
the
exposed,
ground,
right? Yeah.
and that discharges energy. I mean, I'm particularly sensitive to energy, but I think that also is not because I'm special, but because I have this awareness. So I really pay attention.
That's all it is.
Right?
I think we're all built the same.
Right.
We're all
built the same. And the more I pay attention to that, and the more I learn how to manage it, the more I learn how to discharge.
Exactly.
The more I learn how to, point it in the right direction. But yeah, also like laying on the ground is grounding, right? I mean, think about it. There's this whole thing called our planet that we live on, that without talking or building anything, it's self-sustained, right? There's an intelligence and an energy that keeps it all alive and keeps us
balanced. It's
right.
always trying to balance, and
it's all energy. That's what that is. It's energy.
It's all
that keeps
energy.
us alive. Yeah.
And because we are made of nature ourselves, we are constantly trying to balance ourselves out.
Right. So to think that that's not a thing, that I go in the forest, I feel the energy of the forest. It's like thinking that we're the only living beings in this universe. It's like, how did that tree get there? Like, how is the tree reproducing and growing? How are these plants growing? How is nature doing what it's doing? There's an energy behind all of that, right?
And
we can tap into it.
You watch some of the great philosophers of our time spent many, many hours and days in nature. And a lot of it was observing nature, observing animals, birds, all these different aspects, right?
Right.
And there are lessons in nature that we could all take, right? How they're constantly in change. Like you look at the seasons and how they're evolving, right? And they're And yet we struggle with change instead of embracing change.
Right. We
Right?
really
It's
do.
interesting. It's interesting stuff, right? You know.
And listen, just going into nature, you're gonna, regardless, you're gonna get some benefits. But I highly recommend that. Let's say you go on a hike, don't yap away the whole way with your friend, chit chat, chit chat, chit chat, because yeah, you're getting benefits. You're getting the physical exercise, you're
Oh,
getting
yeah.
oxygen, right?
Yeah.
Probably hyperventilating, talking so much, and like hiking as well. But you're not being present, right? You're present with the conversation. You're in your mind. Like what one of the most beneficial things to me about nature is that ability to stay present with myself, spend time with myself, clear my head, release some of the thinking that's not serving me, redirect my thinking. It's like I feel like I go into the forest and create my life. I go in there and manage my life,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. A
I
lot of
could
that
also,
energy is, yeah. Yeah.
right, or I could also go into the forest with Rick and chit chat and talk about the podcast or whatever we're gonna do, like, and spend my entire thing, or like talk about that boyfriend that dumped me or whatever it is, right? Now you're draining some of the energy,
Well,
right?
and this is what we were out this last weekend, and me and my brother-in-law were kind of in the back. Our wives were up front, and we were talking, just talking stuff, right? Nothing really in particular. And then I realized, I said, "Man, I've been talking so much, I've missed this. I missed the whole trail. Like
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
I said, there's a lot of trees here I haven't seen."
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. You made such a good point because what you are present with is the conversation. So now
Yeah.
you miss your surroundings.
Yeah. Totally.
Exactly.
They
Yeah,
it literally
yeah,
disappeared.
yeah,
Like the like other than I was consciously aware of where I was stepping,
right,
but everything around me disappeared
right.
until I noticed, hmm, I'm so much in this conversation.
Yapping away.
I'm just yapping away. And I said, we're missing the walk. And he said, yeah, you're right. And I says, and then everything started to reappear.
Right,
I
right.
started to notice more of the trees, the colors, because we're still got some of the fall going
Look
on.
at the power of intention, right?
Unbelievable.
Intention,
And
right? You
we
put your
can use you that power to our benefit.
right, right. I mean, I organize hikes, and whenever we go, like if someone's new, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna talk and get to know each other at first, but then we'll go for about an hour without talking. And at first, people just look at me, and I'm like, and that's non-negotiable. If you want to do this hike with us, there's no talking, there's no grabbing each other's attention. Like unless we're getting lost, there's no talking. And let me tell you, on the other side of it, people have just like the benefit they get from it and the insights that come in, and like they're just different people on the other side of that hour,
Mhm.
oh my god, I never done that, thank you so much, this is amazing, I feel so great. Yeah, you slow down that machine in there,
Isn't it amazing?
yeah,
It's
it
amazing.
really is super
Yeah.
powerful. I mean, if meditation is, I think meditation is also just as powerful. If you could meditate in nature, that's like the bomb, right? But if that's still really difficult for you, this is a very good alternative that's available to all of us. Or if it's not, like I live in New York City, I go to it, right? You have to prioritize it, right? You have to set boundaries around it, you have to prioritize it, you have to make time for it, right? And just really see it as this is my time to recharge just as much as you make time for sleeping. You make time for this, and just notice the difference. Do it for a couple of weeks, do it for a month.
Just yeah. You have to, like I like what you just said though about prioritizing you. Like you you are not going to be good to anybody unless you start looking after yourself, period. And it doesn't matter, if your boss like all these other things that are pressuring you, if you're not up to optimal states, right? you're going to be like with the analogy of the motorhome, you'll be sitting in the dark.
It's the ultimate self-care, act of love.
You have to.
It
And
really
it's
is.
self-care, not being selfish. This isn't being selfish. This is self-care.
Self-care, just like sleeping is self-care.
Yeah.
Eating the right foods is self-care. Moving your body is self-care, right?
Yes.
Cleansing your brain is self-care. This is how I see a walk in nature or meditation. We just were not brought up and conditioned to think of our brain as something that we need to maintain.
No, and what's really interesting, and this is, I know this could be another topic, but bringing play into life. And when you look at your kids, how much energy they and say, oh, they don't have responsibilities and all this other kind of stuff. And I said, well, let's focus on what's really happening here,
Right.
We're just creating all that extra stuff that's draining your energy, kind of a thing. And when kids want to recharge, they're quiet. When they have that energy, they're expending it, so they kind of know how to do it, which is kind of interesting. It may frustrate us because it's usually, it's like,
yeah, and I love that you brought up the word play and fun. Yeah. Guess what? Play and fun recharges your energy, right?
Totally.
If there's something that you really have fun with, let go of the conditioning that you shouldn't because you have to go finish that project for work and I can't have fun. Let me just keep whipping myself so I'm a hero to myself and nobody else, right?
Yeah.
Have fun.
Have fun.
I'm giving you permission to have fun.
Okay.
Fun. Give yourself permission to have fun.
Yes.
Laughter. That's the opposite of, the energy of sadness and crying. And, like it's the opposite energy. One is draining and one is recharging. Go have fun. Go dance. That's movement and it's fun combined.
Yeah.
Go dance in the woods.
Okay.
In the woods, play hide and seek. I played hide and seek with my kids in the woods, right?
I tried to play hide and seek with my wife one time. She never went looking for me. I don't know why.
I think she was like, "That's my opportunity." Fun.
Anyways, hey, what a wonderful episode again. I really loved how the direction it went. Because we keep saying this, this is unrehearsed. We don't really have an agenda. We have a kind of an overarching thing that we kind of usually what's coming up for us in the moment, which we kind of keep it that real.
Well, but, truly for me, this subject was like literally you master your energy.
Yeah.
You master your life, right? Yeah. Because your energy and your thoughts are so closely related.
Right. And the part of being a master is practice.
Right.
So
practice. And don't give up if you fall or stumble.
Well, how did you get to drive a car the way you drive a car? How did you get on a bike and ride a bike, right? How did you write or draw or whatever, right?
Walk and talk and right. That's what kids do. When they start walking, they're super wobbly. You're like, oh my God, he's gonna face plant. He's gonna face plant. He's gonna face plant. And they may face plant, right? They have a lot of bruises in that first year.
They keep getting up, don't they? They just keep getting up.
And they keep getting up and trying because they want to walk so badly, right? So can we connect with that and have that kind of motivation? If we could
there you go.
That, we would be different human beings, different life. Anyway.
I want to explore that next.
Yeah.
Be childlike.
Be childlike. It was
not childish.
Not childish.
Yeah.
Childish. Childlike, which refers to fun and being in the moment, right?
Yeah. Being very present. Kids are very, very present.
Yeah, and not getting defeated by not doing things perfectly, right?
Yeah. Oh.
Anyway, it was an amazing conversation again. If you enjoyed it, if you got value from it, please share it. If there's anyone that could use a little bit of this conversation, go ahead and share it with them. Like us, follow us, spread the love, help us amplify our impact. That's why we do this.
Mm-hmm.
Just have an impact on those who need to hear this.
Yeah. Thanks, Fatih.
Thank you, Rick.
Have
See
a
you
great
next
week.
time. Bye, everyone.